Hey folks, Roger Bain from Bain Custom Woodworking. Today I'd like to take some time and show you some of the new items I've added to my shop for dust collection. Some of the pieces I've added are new, and some of the things I've added are just reroutes of some of the piping that I've had and why I did what I did. But let's start with this piece right in front of me here. Let me go back to the camera, we'll readjust, get you a better close-up look. We'll take a look at what this one's doing for me. I'll be right back. So you don't need to see me for this part, so let's talk about what I have here. This is an item that I purchased from a company called Penn Industries. Now, I was searching for overhead dust collection for my shop, and what I needed was something that was going to grab the sawdust down here, not clog everything up, but something that I could hang from my ceiling, and I'll show you a close picture of what I did to that in a minute. So after doing some research, I saw a number of them. There are a few of them out there. One of the things that I liked about this unit was my riving knife that came with the table saw stays on this piece. I don't have to take it apart. Some of the other items that I looked at, I had to take this whole unit apart in order for this to work. I also like the fact that this unit moves up and down very, very easily. It's weighted from the back here, and I can move it up and down depending on what I'm working on. And I've actually found that I needed to take it off last week because I needed to cut something that was very tall. Literally unscrewing this right here and this unit here, taking the hose off over here, and the whole unit pulls off, and I'm done. It took me less than 30 seconds to take care of that. But let's talk about the important stuff, and that's dust collection. So the unit that came with this table saw was really nice. I love my Harvey table saw, but I needed a better dust collection for that. What I didn't like about the dust collection for that is sometimes I couldn't see in here when I was working and the dust would clog up. So what this does is this actually offshoots, and let me take a look and show you what I've done here. So let's spin around here. So I have 4-inch ductwork coming down from my ceiling, and this is the longest run that I have in my shop, and that's fine. My Harvey dust processor allows me to turn it up full speed and really brings a lot of suction to this side of the shop. And I'll show you some other features I've added to that to go along with that. But for this unit, I was able to, and if you notice, going all the way down past what you see on the table saw, it's a 4-inch pipe going down to a flex pipe on the hose that hooks to the 4-inch connection on the table saw. So I'm pulling dust from underneath the blade. But what I needed was better dust collection coming over the top. So that Y right there, as you can see, comes up to this flex pipe, and I can certainly put a straight pipe there if I want to, but for right now that's working just fine for me. And then what it does, so I'm splitting that, but I'm here to tell you I don't lose any suction. So let me show you this. So I come over here, and it certainly hooks up from a 4-inch line down to a 2.5. And I get it. We lose some suction velocity, suction processing the minute we reduce down to that. But that's okay. That's one of the pieces that I had to sacrifice for. But it actually was an improvement from what I had before, because the original, the actual processing, the port was less than 1 inch wide, and it would clog up on a regular basis. So what this does now is now I'm doing a lot of suction to the bottom. I have a lot of suction coming now over the top. And what it's doing is, and let me show you here, hold right on, let's zoom right in here. So this hose is directly over the top of my blade. Now, ideally, where it would be better, if I were manufacturing this, I would take this hose from here and I would put it right here, because when your blade spins, it's throwing the dust to the front. But I'm here to tell you, I have seen a vast improvement on my dust collection having it where it is, and I'm very happy with it. So let me show you what it's doing. Let me proof positive that I get some good dust. So let's crank up the Harvey dust processor over in my shop here. You're going to hear it fire it up because I'm not going to limit any of the sound here, I want you to watch that flap right there. You can see that flap right here. It's moving up towards that blade. But I want you to watch. So I've got some sawdust here. All right, so I agree. It doesn't get 100%, but I'm telling you right now, it's getting a good 90% of the cuts when I'm making a cut through this. So, and certainly I'm getting suction from underneath into the cabinet itself. Now I'm getting suction up on top. So I've eliminated a lot of the mess on my table saw. Now, granted, I still have a lot of mess here because I've left it here, and there's a little bit of sawdust right here, but I find when I'm actually running a piece of wood through there, and we're going to try and show you that, it doesn't leave the sawdust on the table, just like this. And with the adjustment here, if I have a thin piece, this rides it just enough so that the thin piece goes under. If I have a piece that's 2 inches thick, I bring it up to the top of the board, and then I bring this right down to where it sits on the board, and then I push it right through. I'm able to see my riving knife. I'm able to see the height of my blade now. I'm able to control this here. So it's really slick in the way that they've designed this. Some folks had complained that they were worried about this piece right here being a little bit vulnerable to cracking. Have not seen that issue. Now granted, I'm the only one that works in my shop, so I can control how this works. But I like the fact that I can move this up out of the way if I need to change my blade, and the thing about this is I can use this when I put a dado blade on. Try that with a manufacturer's over-the-top dust collection when it comes. It's too thin for a dado blade, so you can't use it. I've used this with my dado blade without any problems. So let's hold on. Let's go get a piece of wood and let's cut something for you. Okay, so there's a piece of cedar, and if anything's going to leave sawdust on my table, it is a piece of cedar, let me tell you. The only sawdust that's on here is the sawdust that I left on when I was showing you the demonstration earlier. There is no red sawdust on this table saw. This piece works great. So now let's talk about how I mounted it. So let me come right back and I'll show you that. Okay, so here we are, we're back. Now I'm holding the phone to do my recording, so if it gets a little jiggly, I apologize for that. So we have the piece right here. Let's come in here really close. So here we have our pipe. We're taped. We're secured to the reducer. We're coming up here. We reduce down here. This unit here goes into this pipe here, and let's back up so you can see that. And this is one of the reasons I purchased this unit. I'm able to mount that to my ceiling because most units that mount to the wall need a lot of space. I don't have a lot of space. My table saw is up within 6 inches of my wall on the right hand side. I don't have space to put an overhead. This allows me to mount it to my ceiling into the studs. There are braces that they supply that allow you to brace it to the ceiling as well. And then it comes out of this piece here into the hose and back down here to this piece. Assembly of the unit took me less than 30 minutes. Once I figured out where I wanted to mount it on the ceiling, how I wanted it. Now, something else I have figured out with this unit is, you see I have it pretty close to the blade right there. You can move it left to right depending on where you are. Now, let's talk about a downside, and there is a downside. As I get my rip fence close to it, I'm limited to the thickness that I can cut. But that's okay, because I can lift this up over the top of my fence. I can still bring my fence in, and I can cut some thin items, which honestly, if I'm going to cut something thin, I'm going to flip it around and put the full end on against the rip fence. And it's still, the suction is still there for the overhead. Certainly I reduced the suction because it's not close to the wood. If there's a downside, that's the only downside I see so far. So again, let's reiterate. I bought this from a company called Penn Industries. I will put a link in the bottom of this video as well, so you can reach out to them. It was here within less than a week, and I'm very pleased with how they packed it. They provided every bit of hardware. The only hardware that I needed to do is I needed to purchase some angle braces up there for the ceiling. Other than that, everything was provided in the box. This is the hose that I had. Now, one thing I didn't like, this hose is not the hose that came with the unit. This is a flexible hose. The hose that comes with the unit is really, really stiff. And honestly, it would twist this unit down here so that it was kind of hard to manage. I took it off and threw it away, and every review I read said the same thing. Honestly, this hose works great. It doesn't do a lot of twisting to it. I'm able to be accurate with my dust collection. So Penn Industries, I'll leave the link in the bottom. Works great. I appreciate your time. Please, if you don't subscribe, please subscribe to my videos. Go over and follow us on Instagram at Bain Custom Woodworking. You can always also find us on Facebook, and my website, baincustomwoodworking.com. I'm here in Mount Juliet, Tennessee, just east of Nashville, Tennessee. Feel free to reach out to me if you have a project in your local, or if you have any questions about this system. Thanks for your time, and keep making sawdust.